Welcome to 2x4 Hardcore, Episode 11, Assassin. Happy Martin Luther King Day, everyone. Today, I'm going to be having an interview with an assassin, and that's going to be Headshot, and he's just going to talk to me about the spec, the gear, running dungeons, all of that. I'm going to be having a lot of gameplay, just like last episode. And the gameplay I'm going to have is some GTA 3 missions, some Infinity Blade 2 bosses, the Batman Boss 3, which I said would come out in episode 14, but I'm actually going to show it to you guys today instead. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and I hope you enjoy the holiday. Okay, so for the Order and Chaos segment today, I'm joined once again by Headshot.
Hey guys.
And we're going to be discussing the Assassin spec. I have a few questions here. So you came on the show a few weeks ago and talked to us about the Archer spec and what gear you use.
Now I actually have to contradict everything I said because about a week ago I was running a dungeon and an epic Vorpal dropped.
Oh, really?
Two-handed, and someone traded me 2,000 gold to not roll on it. They were so excited. I went ahead and bought Mastercraft, and now I have 5 out of 6 of the epic pieces. So now I'm all going for the epic rune, but yeah.
So you ended up crafting after all?
I did. I think now is about the point in the game where gold doesn't really do much for you other than crafting.
Pretty much. So, I know that you haven't actually spec'd into a full assassin yet because you're waiting for the PvP arenas, but since you were an assassin when you were leveling up, what skills are the most important for a level 60 respecking or just leveling up to level 60?
I was actually also, to add to that, I was an assassin for the longest time at level 60. I just recently respect Archer. The first 4 that I would recommend would be into Discern Weakness, which is increased critical chance by 5%, because as an assassin, that's where all of your DPS comes from, critical chance. The only way you're going to be able to really get a kill is if you crit. Cutthroat, as I talked 2 weeks ago on your show about how annoying that can be for mages and monks. The silencing effect is really useful if things get out of control and you somehow lose a stun. And that's all Sin is, by the way. Stun lock. You just have to keep them in a stun. Yeah,
because when I was in Vega earlier today, I was actually getting attacked by a bunch of archers and Sins. And the main thing they used was silence and stun, and then they just used crits on me, like snipe, but that's an archer skill, so.
I was just getting to that. The main skill that an assassin completely 100% needs is dagger stab. You need to have Dagger Master completely maxed out, that's 5 points. Dagger Stab, 1 point. Impale, another 5 points, and Ruthless Killing, another 5 points.
Right.
So altogether, to completely max it out, that'll cost you 16 talent points. It's about half of your talent points, but that is pretty much an assassin's snipe. If you're a well-geared assassin and you get a good crit, if you get 2 good crits in a row, you can do 6,000, 7,000 damage in 5 seconds.
Yep. I've seen as much as 4,000 crits, but I think it's actually been reported that it goes up to 5,000 with the Sensaya, so.
Yeah, if you have all of the best in-slot gear, you can get up to 10,000 in maybe 3-4 seconds if you're lucky.
Do you know anything about the Cold Killer's Dagger and what the crit is for that?
Don't know about the crit, but I do know that it raises your DPS by... If you have a Larignal Seal normally, and you swap it out for a Cold Killer's, I think it raises your DPS by 7 or 8, which is humongous.
Wow. So now we're just going to talk about Assassin gear. And I know you still have the Archer gear, but what gear do you think works best for Sins? All epic rune gear is good, of course, but what weapons, trinkets, rings, or necklaces do you recommend?
Well, first of all, for gear, I'd recommend 4 pieces of the Assassin Epic Rune Gear and 2 actually of Archer.
Mm-hmm.
Because those 2 pieces of Epic Archer Rune Gear are useful if you have to rapid shot if the enemy's getting away, which they shouldn't. But it also gives you the Archer set bonus and the Assassin set bonus.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just getting an extra 30 agility, you get 60 extra agility.
Wow.
Which is more crit, more DPS, all that good stuff.
So if you're an assassin, you'd recommend that people go hybrid with the Epic Rune Gear?
I'd suggest maybe gloves and boots or gloves and pants for Archer and the rest of it Assassin. And for trinkets, I'd recommend 1 Kermode's Tear and 1 Aristar's Signet or Strength Lace. Strength Lace is the exact same effect, exact same thing, except it's an extra plus 15 strength. It costs 100 souls.
Oh, so that's one of the epic soul trinkets I got to buy.
It is, yeah. Bow doesn't matter as much, because you won't be using it all that often.
Unless you're a hybrid, probably.
Unless you're a hybrid, yeah. It's normally pretty rare to see a hybrid who uses mainly assassin moves, just because if you have to spec deep in the assassin tree and deep in the archer tree, you don't really get as much DPS as if you were just assassin or just archer. And that being said, whenever I go assassin, I put 20 points, I think, into archer, or maybe it's 15, so that I can get the extra 20% vigor.
Yeah.
And that's an extra dagger stab right there. So that's, instead of maybe 10,000 damage over 5 seconds, that's 15,000 damage. It's really useful.
Wow. What rings do you recommend? Would it be the epic soul rings or some of the ones that drop from the dungeons?
I can't tell by looking at the stats.
Yeah.
Because of the new epic soul ring, the Dark Assassin ring, its stats don't look very good, but I haven't actually looked at it on a character because I haven't been able to buy it yet.
Yeah. And you can only equip one of those because they made it so that it's unique equip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would definitely, if you are an assassin, and you really want an epic ring, go with the Dark Assassin ring. But I would actually, rather than that, I would recommend the Withered Ring of Offense, which is, I think, an extra +1 crit point and 30 extra attack points.
Wow.
So in my opinion, 2 of those is way better. Rings are generally just pretty much whatever you can scrounge up from a dungeon that's attack and crit. My necklace, for the longest time I used a Blood Moon, which goes for maybe 100 gold in the auction house.
Yep.
So that's pretty useful. And I just recently upgraded to the epic soul purchase Dark Assassin necklace, which is a pretty big upgrade. And unless you craft, that would be my recommendation for what to buy with souls as your first soul purchase.
How many souls is the necklace that you got?
This being a necklace, it cost me 120 souls.
Wow.
But I think it was a pretty good investment.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. We're just going to talk about assassins in dungeons. Is it hard for an assassin to run the dungeons with a group? Is it too much stress on the team?
Let's see. That depends. I actually prefer a assassin for KP if you're only doing Cosmo, because the assassin can actually stun the puppet and use dagger stab and kill it a lot faster than an archer can. Typically, unless you're only doing Cosmo, I would prefer an archer or a military monk, just because assassins get all of their power from keeping the enemy stunned and silenced and not able to do anything. Because stuns and silences don't work on bosses 90% of the time, it's just not very useful to have, because it lowers their DPS by half, I think, if the enemy is not stunned.
I think that the assassin has the hardest time in Aristar's Temple, because for the first stage, he does an AoE damage, while the monk heals the tank. So if an assassin gets in there, he get a lot of damage, and you guys don't have a lot of health for that. So
yeah, the assassin is really hard for the dragon for ETL, but it's very nice to have an assassin and a mage for the first 4 bosses that are combined, because the assassin's stun lock works on the monk, so the assassin can stun the monk, which is really helpful, so the monk can't heal. Yeah. And then the assassin can silence the mage, both of which are really useful.
But a lot of hybrid archers have that stun as well, so usually they can stun the monk if you don't have an assassin.
Yeah, the assassin has an extra stun, but actually, typically, it's normally the mage's job to do knockdowns, and the archer, or whatever your DPS slot is, just tends to do as much damage as they can.
Well, also, military monks have a stun move called Mantis Cudgel, and they can stun the monk as well, but it's good to have an assassin to stun him.
I'm surprised that they are not the archer. Why everybody wants an archer, other than the fact for pulling bosses, because military monks have ranged attack, they have stun attacks. If you have really good gear and you know what you're doing, they're the best DPS class in the entire game.
But that's also part of the problem, because in general, when assassin goes into dungeons, they end up doing too much crit on the bosses, so the tank loses aggro. That's the only problem I really see.
What a lot of people don't know, what you should do as an assassin is start attacking it and use a move called Smoke Bomb, which puts you out of combat. And it won't put you out of combat when you're fighting a boss, because the rest of your team is fighting the boss, but it will reset all of your aggro. So all you have to do is, as soon as that's finished, that cooldown is finished, just keep using it, and you won't gain aggro.
I've been seeing a lot of players re-logging in the middle of a boss fight, so they lose aggro. So I guess if you run with an assassin and the boss starts to target him, he could just re-log as well, or he could use the smoke bomb, like you said.
Smoke bomb is normally easier.
Yeah.
But if smoke bomb's on cooldown, or you're lagging, or for whatever other reason you have to, you can definitely relog.
The 4th question is, why would you choose Sin over Archer if PvP arenas came out?
Just generally, the stun lock. Because the whole thing that an assassin has going is that the enemy isn't able to break the stun.
Yeah.
If you're a good assassin, you know what you're doing, you can keep the enemy stunned for half a minute, 45 seconds at a time. That can take out a monk, a mage, another assassin. It can take out anything except generally a guardian warrior. Okay. Because all of your attacks are melee based, and they have a lot of dodge and parry chance, and when you do land a hit, instead of being 5,000 damage through all of their armor, it'll generally be about 2,000 to 3,000.
I'm not sure if it's archers or assassins that do the most crit, because when I'm in a duel, usually I see archers kill me in like 1 or 2 shots, but I think for assassins it takes a few seconds, so.
Yeah, that's generally because archers have that one huge hitting move, Snipe, but so what Snipe does is it hits you for a huge amount. I don't really want to pull it up and tell you exactly how much now, but I can crit for maybe 3,200, and I don't even have that great gear. But what it does is it takes your critical chance, adds 25% to that. I have a 40% critical chance, plus that 25 is 65%. That's really good, but the problem is if Snipe doesn't crit, then you lose, just because that's your only real damage. And also, to answer your question about that, archers, if you are a little bit of a hybrid, archers tend to have more crit because of that extra 25%, and in the archer tree, pretty deep in the archer tree, you get an extra 3% crit chance, and in the first skill of an assassin tree, you can get an extra 5% crit chance.
Oh, okay.
So add that all together, and that's an extra 33% crit chance.
Wow. You said that you think that Archer is the highest crit class in the game, so that's why you choose them if PvP arenas come out?
The only reason I'm really still Archer right now is just because I'm running all the dungeons to make all of my assassin gear.
Yeah.
All of my epic assassin gear. Once I have that, I'll probably just respec assassin.
Alright.
The only problem, and this is the only thing, I'm not sure why, I think it's a glitch in the game, assassins have a ridiculously low hit chance. Because it'll say 85, it'll say 90% hit chance, but really, 1 out of every 2 dagger stabs will miss.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Huge gimp to assassins. I think it's just with dual wielding weapons. Oh, it's bad. It's actually that and the out of range glitch are the 2 reasons that I respect this Archer. If an enemy is running away from you or running towards you or just running in general in one direction and he's still running when you stun him, his character animation will show him stunned, but he will actually be maybe 5 feet in front, and if you try to walk up to his character and attack him, it'll say target is out of range.
Wow. You told me that you ended up getting Mastercraft for Archer, and you got some of the epic rune gear pieces as an Archer. So if you end up speccing back to Assassin, are you gonna have to get all those recipes for Assassin and get epic rune gear?
The recipes I'm gonna need are the chest piece and the shoulders, which are purchasable by souls.
Yeah.
I actually have everything else purchased off the auction house.
Oh, you have assassin gear?
I have all the assassin and archer recipes, except for the purchase with souls.
I mean, I ended up getting Essence of Death within the first 2 days, like all the ones I needed, so that one wasn't too bad.
The Essence of Death are the easiest, and the Essence of Aristar are the hardest.
Yeah.
Right now, because Essence of Death has the highest drop rate, Essence of Swamp, most people already have all the essences they need, just because it's Relic's Key and it's been out for the longest.
Yeah.
And this new dungeon, ET, everybody needs the essence because everybody is just buying all the recipes with souls. So everybody needs all the essences, so everybody rolls, and it has the lowest drop rate.
Yeah, I think that when they release a new dungeon or something, all of the drop rate for the Essence of Aristar is actually going to increase, because I think that's what happened for the last 2 as well.
I think that's time to go all Gameloft conspiracy theorist here. That's probably just to get people to buy more reset tabs. But that's probably my anger towards what's wrong with the game directed at Gameloft.
Yep.
Speaking, but that could be it. I have no idea, honestly.
Thanks for coming on the show today, Headshot.
Thanks for having me again.
Hopefully in the future we'll have more Ordering Chaos stuff to talk about. Maybe if the new update comes out in the next month or something, you can come on and talk to us about that and more Ranger stuff.
And I took advantage of this double XP weekend, and I finally got my level 36 mage to 60.
Oh wow. So maybe you can come on and talk about mage sometime. Who knows?
I don't know.
We'll see. Yep. So I haven't talked about Grand Theft Auto in a few weeks or shown any gameplay. I think the last time I showed it was episode 8, and that was just kind of an introduction to it. So today I'm going to be showing 2 different missions, and I think that you guys will enjoy it. I really hope that you guys do. In this mission, I stole a car, as you saw, and what I have to do is attack this van, and apparently bullets or any weapons don't damage it because it's an armored truck. So you have to actually crash into it with your car multiple times, and it has a damage meter. It took me about 5 minutes to actually damage it enough to actually enter it and then take over the van. and take it to the place I'm supposed to go. A warning is that when you're doing this mission, the police tend to go after you. I'm getting impounded by a lot of police officers right now because I guess I'm hitting pedestrians along the way. Basically, you just have to attack the van until you get it to the full damage meter. And right here, I had finished off the van. I took the cop car so that I could get away from the cops because they were shooting at me. And then I went back in the van and just made a circle. The police will chase after you here, but you basically just have to bring this armored truck back to the original mission area. I think trying to get it to the damage without blowing up your car or the cops stopping you. I mean, the cops are still chasing after me here, but I already have an armored truck, so it can't really blow up, I guess. And the truck goes really slow uphill, so I had to back up. I really love this game because it kind of feels realistic. I mean, it's first person, and you are in a real city. I mean, it's not a real city, but you're in a simulated city. And so I just have to park the car here and then get out. Actually, when you park the car or finish a mission, your stars go down, and the stars are for when police officers are chasing after you. I think I had like 3 stars there. You can't really see it in the footage. Yeah, so the garage closes and I pass the mission, and the cops stopped chasing after me because the stars wore out. So this is the second mission here, and I have to steal this car with a dead body in the trunk. And I thought it would be easy, but actually you have 2 different cars trying to attack you. So I had to try to not get the car destroyed, and they're really aggressive and fast, so they're hitting me off the road here. But I have to try to get the car with the dead body in it to a tow yard, and I have to get the car crushed to get rid of the evidence or something. So I just have to get the car to survive, and I have to try to get it to the tow yard before I die. And I don't have any stars from the police right now, which is good, so it makes it a lot easier. It looks like I got a far enough lead ahead of the people attacking me. So right here, there's not really an entrance, so I just kind of drive into the tow yard. And there's this little area, and you just park the car and you get out. This machine just basically crushes it. So those are the 2 missions that I showed today. In the coming weeks, I will be showing different missions in Grand Theft Auto. I will try to show one that doesn't involve a car, but as I said in episode 8, a lot of these missions do involve a car. So that's all my Grand Theft Auto gameplay for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So last episode, I said I wasn't going to show the next Batman boss until episode 14, and I was just kidding you all. I'm actually going to show it today, and this is in the Gotham Steel Mill. It looks almost the same as the sewers, but there's new enemies with new attacks. I also got the new Batman suit that I said I was going to get. It's the Dark Knight Rises Batman suit, and it's really good. It has a lot of health and armor and damage. It was only 99 cents, but I just got that for the show. It was kind of a ripoff. I don't think you should have to pay real money for that. Anyways, right here, I'm finishing off these guys. I hate the gun attacks. They're really, really annoying. So this guy I finished off pretty easily, and then he gets shot by the next boss. This guy's specialty is attacking you with a stick and having a lot of health. Every time you get the stick out of his hands, he actually gets it back again. This took me about 10 minutes to actually bring him down, so that's why it's sped up here, because I don't want to show 10 minutes of me attacking and getting hit and losing my health almost. Surprisingly, I didn't die this whole battle with him. He never gets, every time you try to get the stick out of his hands, he basically gets a new one or just keeps it and gets a little damage. At first I didn't really know how to get his health down because I thought the stick would go out of his hands eventually. Basically you just have to attack him whenever you can. I also got these 2 new moves. One of them, you throw bats at the enemy, and that causes them to be confused for a few seconds and you can attack them. And the other one I got was these lightning gloves. You basically just do a bunch of combos with them. It works pretty effectively. I think with upgrades it would work a lot better. You can actually upgrade the bat stun and also the gloves, and there's another gas move that you can upgrade. So his health is down kind of low. I just have to basically do the same movements and attack him over and over and try to do combos when I can. Next week I will be showing the next boss in Batman Arkham City Lockdown. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. So today I'm going to be showing more Infinity Blade 2 gameplay. I'm going to be showing some boss fights and some regular enemies, and also a preview of what I'll be showing next week. So this guy is actually the second boss, and he's a level 50. His name is the Archivist. I think that the level for the bosses is actually not really their level, because I beat this guy pretty easily, and I don't have the best gear. He is not hard at all. I beat him in about a minute. You basically just do combos on him, and you try to parry his attacks. I tend to parry more because, as I said before, I have the dual wield weapons. I really like the cutscenes in this. Like, he just did a really awesome backflip. I like how Epic Games incorporated that. So I'm about to finish him off right here. I think I just have to do one more parry, and then I can just do one more combo. And there's also match bonuses that you get. You have to fill a certain requirement, like 5 parries or 5 dodges or something. And if you do that, then you get experience bonus. So there's also chests that require keys, and that one just required a small key. And you have to find the small key or buy it, and you get okay items. And the best chest is a large key, but those are hard to find and they cost a lot. So right here I'm just showing one of the normal bosses, and my gear is pretty good because I got lucky on some chests and I got money in them. And I lost the XP bonus, which was 2 combos, but it's not that much XP for regular enemies, it's a lot more for the bigger enemies. So in this room there's different doors. I think you have to put a certain weapon in there and then you get better gear on it. I'm not really sure, I can't confirm this because I haven't gotten any of the weapons. There's a really easy guard here. Right here, you have to beat this boss and then you can choose between 2 different areas. The one behind this boss is actually the area to the last boss. And then the other door leads to the first boss that I showed last episode. But when you get there, he's actually dead. So you basically just fight a guard and then you die. Next week, I'll be showing more gameplay. This right here is one of the things I'm going to be showing, and there's a huge boss here. If you've seen the gameplay trailer, you can actually see this huge monster walking out. Next episode, you'll find out what he is, and I'll see you next episode for more Infinity Blade 2 gameplay. So I just wanted to take a minute to talk about mobile games like Order and Chaos, Infinity Blade 2, Grand Theft Auto, all the games that I talk about on this show. I think that mobile games are a lot more addictive than console games. You just have to put the time into them, basically. I mean, when I played console games before, they were fun for a few months, but after a while, you kind of don't play them anymore. And with mobile games, they're there every day, and you can play them pretty much everywhere. I mean, of course, online games are restricted to Wi-Fi access or 3G access, but mobile games are just a lot more addictive to me because they're easier and you can get into them more. Console games you actually have to put a lot of time into. So I think that's why a lot of developers are working on mobile games, because people like the cheap prices and they like the fact that it's pick up and go and it's not super hard. But then again, there's people who like the hardcore games. So that's kind of why I made this show, to introduce the people who like the hardcore games about the different games that there are on mobile that are substitutes for the console games that you can't always play. And I also wanted to say why I prefer Ordering Chaos and World of Midgard I think I'm going to enjoy that over World of Warcraft or other online games on the computer. And it's basically the same thing. I just love how it's pick up and play, and it's just a lot easier, and it's mobile, so you can like take it anywhere in the house. But for a computer game, you actually have to sit in the same spot all day. Yeah, you can use a laptop to play online games, of course. But I like how they're starting to make games more hardcore and they're adding content to them. Like, Ordering Chaos has had 3 updates now, and that's really good because World of Warcraft has like an update each year. I like that mobile games are cheap and that they're easy to play, and that's why I enjoy Ordering Chaos, and I enjoy all the other games I talk about, like Modern Combat 3 is an example of an online game. Console games, developers have to put a lot more time and effort into, and they have to advertise it, but for these mobile games, you just have to get a few people to buy it, and then it'll show up on the App Store, and you don't really have to advertise. So it's a lot less annoying because of the advertising, and the games are actually a lot more addictive in my eyes. So that was just me rambling on. That's all I have to say about that. And that's the episode for today. Next week, hopefully, I'll be having episode 12 and 13. In those episodes, I will be having more Modern Combat 3 gameplay. I'm also going to show the Shadow Prince and all of the Relics key bosses in high speed. I'm going to show the final Batman boss, more Grand Theft Auto missions, more Infinity Blade 2 bosses, a special interview, and more. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and tune in next week for episode 12 and 13. Bye guys.